G'day, I'm Faintly Saintly and thank you for joining me. Now this video is something a little bit different for the channel, and what I wanted to do this time was to have a look at the monthly choice bundle from Humble Bundle, as you can see here, and have a very quick look at the games that are on offer. The aim of this is to save you some time and give you a quick idea of whether the bundle is for you or whether it's one you might pass on. Now if you're not familiar, Humble Choice is a monthly subscription that offers you a collection of games every month. And if you don't like the offering, you can pause your subscription and check back next month, though you do lose some of the associated perks that you get for keeping your subscription active, such as a discount in the Humble Store, which is essentially their own digital game storefront. Okay, I've been a subscriber of the Humble Bundle since before the monthly offering was even called Choice, so it's been a few years actually. And I find that every month there'd be some games that I wasn't familiar with or that I just wasn't sure about, so I'd have to go looking at the game store pages and read some reviews and watch some gameplay videos just to see whether that's my thing or whether it was worth me picking up the bundle or whether I should just skip that month. And I found that to be necessary, but also quite time consuming, so I thought that I'd do my part and try and help a few other people as well by having a brief look at each game to see what it's like and to see how it's been reviewed and hopefully save you the trouble of going looking for yourself. Now I am thinking of making this a monthly event, so if you do find this useful, please do let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, let everyone know what you think of this month's Humble Bundle. And are you going to smash or are you going to pass? In addition, I do cover lots of new and upcoming indie games on my channel, so if you do want to see more from me, please consider subscribing. Alright, let's get on with it. This is the Humble Choice page you can see here on the screen. And if you scroll down, we'll get an idea of some of the games that are on offer this month. We have Against the Storm, Jagged Alliance 3, Blasphemous 2, Beneath Oresa, Fort Solis, Boxes Lost Fragments, Dordogne, the Pegasus Expedition. So if you are a subscriber, you basically get access to these games for free. The price in Australia for a monthly subscription is, I believe, $17. And usually it is a very good value proposition. It's just that you don't necessarily get to know what games you might be getting. Although you do obviously always have the choice to pause. Anyway, let's get into it. The first game on this list is Against the Storm, a dark fantasy city builder where you must rebuild civilization in the face of apocalyptic rains. Now, I've heard really good things about this. I haven't played it myself yet, but I've been dying to, so this is an excellent choice for me. As you can see, all reviews overwhelmingly positive. 95% of 26,800 reviews are positive, which is a great sign. And it was released in December 2023. The usual price for this game on its own is $40 Australian. So already the $17 choice proposition is sounding pretty good. And as you can see, it's got a very distinct and charming art style. And it claims to be a roguelite city builder. How that works exactly, I'm not entirely sure, but that sounds really appealing to me because if you know anything about me, if you've seen my channel, I love roguelites and roguelikes. One comment I did read said that this basically replays the fun part of an RTS. If you're like me, the start of an RTS where you're establishing your base or your colony and going exploring, that's the best part. And things can drag on later in the game, especially in games like Civilization. I really struggle to finish the game. I just want to start a new one and play that really fun early game stuff again. So I'm told that that is a big focus of this game. So that is appealing to me. Obviously there is some meta progression here in between your runs, I guess you'd call it. Nice world map as well. It sounds like there's a lot of different races and you build settlements and you need to build to meet the needs and wants of each different race as well, which is interesting. So as I said, one I've been watching for a while and I'm really excited to finally have an excuse to play it. Looks like there is some DLC as well. There is a bundle including the DLC for over $50. But I guess if you get the base game from the bundle, you can pick these up later if you wish. We have a supporter pack, we have Keepers of the Stone, and we have the base game. So there's only one real DLC and a supporter pack, which I assume has soundtracks and art books and wallpapers, that kind of stuff, if that's your thing. It is Steam Deck verified, for those of you lucky enough to have a Steam Deck. And that can be, I know for those of you who game primarily on your Steam Deck these days, that could be a big factor. So good to know that that is verified, which means it will work and is designed to work for the Steam Deck, which is great. 91 Metacritic score, which is also a good sign. universally liked. Recommended specs are pretty low. I mean, it's not the most graphically photorealistic game, as it is nicely stylized, but obviously it's not too intensive. R9 290X or a GTX 970 is recommended 8 gigs of RAM. Everyone probably should be fine if they bought their computer in the last few years. Overwhelmingly positive. Very good combination of RTS, city management, building sim, and roguelike. Thank you, Efrit. Not seeing anything here that's standing out as majorly negative. It just sounds like an all-around highly rated game. So for me, this is a good start. This is a big tick, and certainly making this humble choice look very good. I'll move on to the next game in the list, which is Jagged Alliance 3. Obviously a sequel in a beloved franchise, and I'm just wondering how old Jagged Alliance 1 and 2 are. I think they're quite a bit older. Anyway, if you're not familiar, this is a turn-based tactical game, a bit of strategy. It's like, you know, think XCOM, that kind of thing. You control a team of mercenaries, you equip them with skills, weapons. You know, it's more of a realistic military setting rather than XCOM with, you know, aliens and laser beams, that kind of thing. And obviously takes you through a lot of different environments as well. This was released in July 2023. And the standard price is 70 Australian dollars, which is still pretty high, especially for a game a couple of years old, but I think this has something to do with it. THQ, big publisher, often, from what I can tell, don't typically discount their games that quickly. Okay. There may be... Does THQ have its own launcher? Something to consider. You do need to agree to a third-party end-user license agreement, so keep that in mind. It is playable on Steam Deck, not verified, so not completely 100% compatible or designed to be compatible, but it will work, is what that tells you. There is a big bundle with some additional DLC. Wait, no, these are the old games. There you go. Jagged Alliance Gold. Have a look at that. Classic. $200. So if you're a big fan of the franchise, good luck to you. IGN loved it, 9 out of 10. Shack News loved it, 9 out of 10. Solid return to form, an excellent upgrade for this franchise, but also easily my favourite strategy game I've played in years, writes Shack News. So there you go. 81 score on Metacritic, which is nice. Okay, this one's a little bit more intensive than the last one, asking for a 2070 or a Radeon 6700, 16 gigs of RAM. You know, not over the top, but considerable if you're possibly gaming on an aging machine. Now that's a bit scary. Some of the most prominent reviews here are negative. Clunky and boring, says Dyer. I like tactical games, but I'm not super good at them. Yeah, I can agree with that. XCOM is named as a comparable game. This one feels terrible. You're playing with mercs, so there's no attachment. Oh, that's a good point. They will leave after their contract is over. So you don't get that XCOM experience where you got your rookie from the start, from your first mission, you get him right to the end, he's leveled up, he's got all the skills and abilities and all your best gear, and you get really attached to him, you don't want to lose him. You probably don't have that as much with this game, so if that's a big factor for you, that might be something to consider. But, you know, overall, most people think it's positive. I think it's fun, a nice strategy game, doesn't take you by the hand, old school feel, good level of management outside of combat, so plenty to do in between to manage your resources, I guess. Finally, a very good Jagged Alliance game. Okay, so obviously some valid criticisms to look into, but overall, well liked, and apparently a valued addition to the franchise. So, for me, that's a tick, because I have had my eye on this, though I haven't had the chance to play... which one did I play? I played one of the early ones, I can't even remember which one it was. And I do love this turn-based tactical thing. You know, XCOM is one of my favourite series. Even from the original all the way up to the latest one, XCOM 2, I've put hundreds of hours in, so big fan. Not the best at them, but I love them. So, tick for me. Move on to the next one, Blasphemous 2. Dive into the perilous new world filled with mysteries and secrets to discover and tear your way through monstrous foes that stand between you and your quest to end the cycle once and for all. This is a 2D fantasy Metroidvania Souls-like, combat-based. I'm thinking, what's the word? Hollow Knight. but obviously the art style is clearly Souls, influenced. It's got that dark fantasy, there's a giant hand coming out of there, flying coffins, things with faces, statues, that kind of stuff. It does look very impressive. The combat is, it looks pretty intense and meaty. Love the sprite work. Oops, that's very loud. There you go. So, Metroidvania, tick. 2D, tick. Love the sprites. Souls-like, tick. Looking good for me so far. This was released in August 2023. The base price is $45, so again, pretty good value there. Although you can get the DLC edition bundle for $38, so that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? The Mea Culpa OST and the DLC, which has mixed reviews, but is what it is. We're not including those in the Humble Bundle, it's just the base game, so keep that in mind. But that doesn't mean you can't get the DLC later and still have saved a bit of money. Steam Deck verified, which means you'll have a good experience with your Steam Deck. 83 on Metacritic, so not the best of the best, but still very good. All reviews on Steam are 92% positive out of 10,000 reviews, so that is a good sign. Yep, recommended specs are basically negligible. If you have a working PC that isn't a million years old, you should be fine. Lots of good positive reviews. I always look at the playtime. It's fair enough to say this game is 9 out of 10 and you've played less than 2 hours. But this person has played for 90 hours. This person's played for 120, 60. Positive, positive, positive. What interests me is these ones. The bosses are not good at all in this game. Too tanky, especially in New Game Plus, says Razor. And he's played 62 hours and still wouldn't recommend it. Megadan. A much worse game than the first. Bigger is not always better. 30 hours, still wouldn't recommend it. So again, some valid negative points, but overall, seems to be liked. Dead Cells is the game I was thinking of earlier, in terms of the punchy combat. I mean, have a look at that. It does look very good. I'm a sucker for sprite-based games, especially when they're animated so beautifully. And, Metroidvania, Souls-like, yes please. That is a tick for me. And we'll move right along to the next one. Beneath Oresa, a fighting roguelike deck builder. Oh, alright, that's all you need to know. If you're familiar with my channel at all, roguelike deck builder is probably my most used term. Love them, play a lot of them, and always looking for more, so that's a good sign. Takes you deep within the city to confront your foes. As a strategist, choose your cards, upgrades, and artifacts wisely, but as a fighter, turn their positioning to your advantage. So we've got the whole roguelike deck builder thing going on here, but with pretty impressive animation and a nice little sort of almost cel-shaded art style. New duets, okay, so you've got characters and support characters. I'm guessing that's the fighter and the strategist is what this is sort of telling me. Okay, so slay the spire, but when you hit the enemy, it looks like you actually hit the enemy, which is nice. Cool characters, nice effects, almost comic book style, isn't it? And looking pretty good. There's plenty going on here. Pretty busy UI, but I imagine that would all make sense after you start playing a little bit. So mostly positive, 79%, so certainly not critically acclaimed, but that is still not a terrible score. Released September 2023. Base price is $35, so again, pretty good value proposition. Steam Deck verified for you Steam Deck users, good to know. It's won a lot of indie awards from 2021. Yogs Games Tiny Teams, PAX Rising, Indie Cup, nominee and winner of the Grand Jury Award. There you go. Not too intensive on your system either. What do the reviews say? Muppet Special Forces, I assume, says gameplay is okay, but the difficulty is far too high. I've reached 31 after about 11 games and only won once. So, challenging. Completion progress is confusing. I'm just going to pause this video. Woefully lacking in tutorialization, meaningful tooltips, and guidance, and high initial difficulty. Okay, so it's got a bit of a barrier of entry. Okay. Beautiful card game. combat movements and animations were awesome. The game itself is solid, fun, and challenging. A bit too chaotic for my liking. Interesting take on the genre. Took a couple hours to get into it, but I'm starting to see how it works. Feels very, very fluid and cinematic when turns are planned out. Okay, so that's a good sign. This might sum it up. Last of Arcadia says, it is a solid deck builder that is extremely difficult until one picks up the nuances of its system. So there you go. It's maybe one for more experienced deck builder players. Looks like they don't put a lot of focus on tutorials, but once you get into it, get past that initial sort of barrier to entry, it sounds like it all sort of starts making sense and feels good to play after that. Well, definitely a tick for me. A roguelite deck builder I haven't tried before. Looks good. Seems challenging, which is nice. And yeah, was usually $35, so not a bad value proposition. I'll certainly give this one a try, so that's a tick for me. Going well so far, this bundle. There's been a few questionable ones in the last 12 months or so, but this is so far a really good way to start the year. Let's move on to the next one. Fort Solis. Now this one I don't know anything about. Answer the call from a mining base on Mars as engineer Jack Leary and search for the missing crew. Fort Solis will immerse you with cinematic visuals powered by Unreal Engine 5 and the voice acting of Roger Clark and Troy Baker. Explore the mining complex and reach climax of this narrative thriller experience. I'm missing a word there, or is that... Anyway. Recent reviews are mixed. First one that hasn't been positive. 65% of 70 user reviews in the last 30 days are positive. But overall 70%, so it's thereabouts. Not critically acclaimed either, but, you know, not terrible by the sounds of it. It is a futuristic sci-fi, story-rich Mars game. Thriller. Is it like an exploration one, is it? Is it... I don't know if it's first person, is it third person? Obviously we've got some future tech. They've settled on Mars. People have gone missing. You need to go find them. But actually it looks pretty good. Uh-oh. Blood. Something that's going on here. Okay. So it could be a spooky one. I like the design. It looks good. Uh-oh, he's hurt his knee. So it looks like you're talking to people over video chats and things. There's all different facilities. Okay. It's a story-rich, futuristic thriller, so it might be a bit of a mystery game as well. If you're into that kind of thing, the base price is $36.50 Australian. Okay, Steam Deck verified, that's good. It does not have a Metacritic score. Interesting. Again, this is actually the first time I'm hearing of this game, so I don't have much more to tell you. But we'll have a quick flick through the reviews and see what the general consensus is. The visuals are really nice, the voice acting is quite good, the plot itself is lackluster, and the gameplay is a walking simulator. I was hoping for some crazy alien plot, but you don't see any of that. Please stop auto-playing these. Okay. Right, well that sums it up, because I was thinking the same thing. I did think, oh, this is going to take a creepy alien monster turn, but nope, it's just a walking simulator with some mystery and intrigue, I guess. Mediocre walking simulator. Usually isn't walking simulator a tag that could appear here? I'm sure I've seen that before. Anyway, the trailer and art around this game made it seem like a lot more interesting than it was. It was essentially a very slow walking simulator. There's that term again, with a few quick time events thrown in. The story remains unresolved. Okay, some people like it. Most, I would say most, but a lot of people don't seem to. I'm also not seeing a huge amount of high play times. I'm seeing 3, 5, 6 hours. Oh my god. Shh. Sorry about that. So that tells you a lot. Even this one, 14 hours is negative. So this one, unless it is something that specifically interests you in terms of theme, or you like those sort of walking simulators and narrative stories, then, you know, maybe it is for you. Probably not for me. That's probably the first cross for me on this bundle. Could be good, might try it one day if I'm bored, but not necessarily something that interests me too much. So we'll move on. Boxes. Lost Fragments is the next one on the list. As a legendary thief, your next assignment lures you into a grand and lavish mansion. There you find a series of puzzle boxes designed for an unknown purpose. What should have been a quick in and out gradually turns into your own harrowing struggle for freedom and answers. Interesting. I have read a little bit about this one. This is almost like an escape simulator, except instead of rooms, you've got puzzle boxes, more or less. And it looks like there is quite a variety of different mechanisms and designs, so I'll keep you guessing. I'm a huge fan of escape rooms. I've done a bunch. I've played a bunch of Escape Simulator. I've played, various escape sim adjacent games, I would say. So if you like puzzles, might be one to look at. It does look very pretty. Base price is $22, so again, pretty good value proposition. It was released less than a year ago, so there you go. Puzzle Adventure Mystery Point and Click and 3D. So basically, not much more to show on this one, is there? It's just a bit of a puzzle game. You put things together, you work out puzzles. All looks very interactive, and the games like this I find are really satisfying to play. If you have a look at how they're like interacting with this little box here and flicking switches and things like that, looks very good. It looks like the developer or the publisher might have a thing for puzzle games, because we've also got Doors, Paradox. We've got Escape Machine City, so bundles, Tiny Robots, Recharge. Bundles that include other games that are kind of similar in concept, potentially. If that's your thing, you can go pick up a bunch more as well. But again, this is just looking at the game Boxes, Lost Fragments. Playable on Steam Deck, not fully compatible, but it looks like you're just basically pointing and clicking, so I don't know how much of an issue that would be. And yeah, system requirements are basically negligible, so it shouldn't cause anyone too much stress. More like this is Escape Simulator, which, as I just mentioned, that's one that I found very good in VR and on flat screen. Okay, reviews are all pretty good. I love this game. It's interesting and the right amount of challenge for a casual escape room puzzler. That's what we want to hear. Very fun and satisfying. Some puzzles are harder than others, but they're all fun to complete. Short but sweet, 100% in 4 hours. There you go. So it's not going to be one that you're going to sink a lot of time into, but it might be fun for, a rainy weekend or something like that. Beautiful game. Graphics and sounds are all perfect. Good to hear. It's not horrible, but it's trying to be The Room, including a bare-bones story with no depth or payoff. So, if you're looking for a real overarching narrative, maybe this isn't one for you, but if you just want to sit down for a few hours and do some interesting puzzles, it could be a good one, especially if you're going to buy the bundle anyway. You get this as well, and give it a try. That's a tick for me. Now for the penultimate game in the bundle, Dordogne. Forgive me if I haven't pronounced that properly, my French is not the best. This is one that I have read a bit about, and it's one that often comes up when I hear people, debating are games art, because this well and truly is art. I believe all the environments are even hand painted in watercolor, and I think that was actually featured in one of these trailers here. Obviously based on real regions, and yes, looks to be all hand painted and captured that way. And what kind of game is it? It looks like it's a very casual game. Could be a little bit of a walking sim. There might be some puzzles and some interactivity, maybe a bit of platforming. And I think you play as... who do you play as? Do you play as the girl, possibly?
Cold, cold water. The Dordogne.
Oh, hello. Oh, yeah.
Cold, cold water. The Dordogne.
Dordogne. I think I was close. Anyway. It does look very good if this is your kind of game. So it looks very chill, very casual, and beautiful. And essentially, looks like there's a bit to do. You meet people. I think I saw some scenes where you're in the kitchen, you're cooking things. Oh, there you go. You take some photos. Okay. You revisit your childhood to uncover lost family secrets in this touching, formative journey. There you go. If that is something that interests you, I think this is one that you'll be very happy with. $22.95 is the usual going price. IGN says a game of rare elegance. Gorgeous watercolor art style that turns every frame into a painting of its own. All reviews are very positive. 94% are positive, which is a good sign. Released June 2023. So not much more I can really say about it without having played it myself, but if this is your cup of tea, I think you'll be happy with this. It is playable on a Steam Deck. It has won a bunch of awards, nominated for Best Sound, Tranquil Title nominee from Patch, 10 Best Narrative Games. Well, a lot of awards. Look how far this goes. Cultured Vultures, one of the 22 most exciting games from 2022. There you go. Similar to Tiny Glade, which is another very chill little building sim. I did want to cover that in the channel actually, but never got around to playing it. Maybe it's not too late. Very positive reviews. This person played for 10 hours. Said it's beautiful but boring. 5 clicks to open a door. But then, you know, if it's that bad, you probably wouldn't last 10 hours, would you? Very beautiful but boring. A love letter to a life that never was. Simple, beautiful, and touching. A nice narrative game with a beautiful story, simple puzzles, nice drawing designs, and a relaxing soundtrack. So I think that sums up, you know, if you're going to find this kind of thing pretty boring, probably not worth your time. But if you're one that's going to appreciate the narrative and appreciate the artwork and the characters and the design, then, you know, you're probably going to have a really good time with this by the looks of it. Probably not one I'll go out of my way to play. But if it's in this bundle and these guys get even a cent from the sale, that's a tick from me. Can't argue with that at all. Beautiful. Let's move on. And the final game in the list is the Pegasus Expedition, another one which I have no previous knowledge of. The Pegasus Expedition is a story-driven sci-fi grand strategy game set in a key moment for humankind's survival. Facing an overwhelming threat at home, humanity sends expeditions to the Pegasus Galaxy in a desperate attempt to find refuge for the population of Earth. It's a mostly positive game released in June 2023. It's a 4X grand strategy space sci-fi game. And what sort of gameplay we're looking at here? So I guess if you've played any 4X strategy games, it's going to look pretty standard, I guess. Yeah, nothing. I'm not a huge fan of that genre. I haven't played a lot. But it seems to align with, you know, in my head what I think of when I think of that kind of space 4X, what do you call it? Grand strategy. Aliens, dialogue, you know the drill. Tech trees. There you go, mostly positive. User price is $29.50. Space Rangers HD. So there is bundled with some other games. There doesn't appear to be any sequel or DLC. Oh, sorry, yes there is. Digital art book. No, there's not. If that's your thing, it is there. Requirements aren't very high at all. No, generation's old, so everyone should be good if they've got a relatively recent PC. And the reviews. An interesting one. I'll be listing many cons. I still like the concept and enjoyed it enough to recommend it. So there you go. The good probably outweighs the bad. There are a lot of cons there. I'm not going to go through and read them, but check out Cognita's review on the Steam page if you are interested in diving deeper into that. I was really liking this game, but the bugs killed it for me. I couldn't drag and drop the ships from one fleet to another, or an attack group would stay immobile during a fight. Oh, interestingly, the developer has responded as recently as November, so they're still potentially active. A fun game, crashes frequently. Okay. Overwhelming threat at home. That's just a game summary. So promising, but the bugs, man. How is the game still this bugged after all this time? Okay. So the general, and this is just me giving my not AI sort of summary of reviews, it sounds like it could be a little bit buggy, a little bit rough around the edges, but overall, if you can see past that, it could be a good space civilization grand strategy 4X game. If that is your cup of tea, you will probably love it. For me, I would probably not go out of my way to play this. But, you know, mostly positive is mostly positive. It's got its faults, its flaws, but probably, if it's your kind of genre, worth a try. And that is every game in the January 2025 Humble Choice Bundle. Let me know in the comments down below if you found this helpful, if it saved you going out and doing your own research to sort of summarize everything in one place. That was the goal, to save you some time from a lot of time that I've spent over the years doing it myself. So if that's helped you, let me know in the comments below. And if you want to see more like it, I can keep doing this every month. Also, let me know what you think of the bundle itself. Is this one you're going to pick up, or are you going to skip this one and check back in next month? If you like this and want to see more of my content, please consider subscribing as well. It helps me out a lot and keeps you in the loop when new videos drop. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time.